A lot of things have happened in the past 2 months that I haven't been uploading on YouTube. Stories of their own that I'll gloss over for now. Today, I wanted to tell you the story of how I became an extrovert, and more importantly, the lessons that I learned about friendship going through this journey that you might be able to use in your own life. Ever since 2020, I've been trying to reflect a lot more on myself. And ever since, I've been trying to make an effort to be happier with life, be more at peace with whatever it throws my way, and be more grateful for whatever little nuggets of positivity I get the privilege to encounter in my life. And last year I made an active choice to practice gratefulness, to find even at least one thing to be thankful about every day of my life, no matter how bad or good that day actually was. And another choice, to actively take more risks. And by risks, I don't mean dangling off a car that's speeding on the freeway or dangling off buildings, which I did, but that's not the kind of risks that I'm talking about. The risks I'm talking about are the things that just slightly make you feel uncomfortable. Maybe going to a gathering that your friend invited you to that you feel anxious about, where you only know the one person that invited you, and showing up there and trying to talk to people that you had never met before without knowing how that's really going to end up. Or reconnecting with old friends no matter how awkward it is to say hi again after years of no contact. Basically, as long as it came to mind that I wanted to do something and it felt uncomfortable and my anxiety started to kick in, I knew that was a risk, and it was likely a risk that I should take. And it's thanks to becoming happier, thanks to gratefulness, and becoming more comfortable in my own skin and willing to take risks, that allowed me to open up to my existing friends more, to strangers more, showing more dimensions and more sides of myself more openly and more comfortably. It allowed me to feel more free, to be whoever I felt like being at that given moment. See, the thing is, I was never really set out to become extroverted, but then all of a sudden, I found myself in the middle of all this action, realizing that I was the one hitting up all my friends, reaching out to old ones, reaching out to current ones, or just basically being the one to engage. And honestly, I owe it to the worst time in my life and a question asked to me by one of the most important people in it. How come you've got all these friends, you've got all these stories, so many different groups, so many different places, and yet, at the end of it all, you go back to your room, you sit in the darkness, and in your head, you still feel lonely? And this struck a chord with me. I knew this was a thing. You know, I tell stories of all the friends that I've had over the years, and all the experiences that we've had together, and all these fond memories that I hold dearly. And at the same time, I still have these friends in my life. They've stuck by me all these years, they have done me no wrong, and yet I choose to keep them at a distance. I don't share, really, much of my life, and I didn't fully trust them, even though they've never given me any reason to doubt them, purely based on patterns that I had. But I always felt like I couldn't dig deep enough to find the root of the issue, because I thought that was just gonna be me for the rest of my life. It took a really, really low point in my life and a really, really important person for me to finally take the time to find the answers to this question. And it's like a whole new world just opened up in my mind. And so it was then that I realized the things that I needed to fix. And it was also during this conversation where this question was asked to me that I was told, I wish you'd let some people in with the things that you actually care about, the struggles that you go through. Share your life more with people, your real self and your real life more. I wish you didn't feel like you had to go through it alone, and I wish that you didn't feel so lonely in your head. It doesn't even have to be new people. You don't have to make new friends. Just try to reach out to the ones that are already there, who have been there all this time. And that was all true. So realizing all the things that I could have done and that now I could change, I started reaching out and being like, hey, I'm going through the worst time of my life right now, and a lot of the stuff that I might say next may feel incredibly out of character, but I appreciate you, and you mean a lot to me. In the most recent years that I've been living in America, I've had some of my favorite moments and memories with all of you, and I don't think I've been giving you enough credit. There's a lot that I've come to realize, and basically, to cut it short, I want to make up for lost time. And as stupid as it sounds, I was a little bit anxious as to how they'd respond, because I had never been that heartfelt. But they responded in kind. Of course they did. They're my friends. And so I started trying to be a better friend and just trying to learn how I could communicate my intentions as a friend better to my friends. Because that's the thing, is that I always had good intentions, but I haven't been the best at communicating that. And it was both this choice to reach out and also make an effort to translate what was happening inside me that changed my life and my friendships. I used to be the one to expect and hope for my friendships to grow without really being the one to invest too much. And I realize now that that's foolish. But like I said, now I found myself making plans and reaching out to everybody and initiating things, which is a far cry from what I used to be. And I communicated it very clearly that, you know, it'd be great to have you there with me. But the funny thing was, I was making all these plans, reaching out to all these people, wanting to go out, trying to spend time, trying to make my friendships better, and I didn't have a car. Long story short, I just did not have a car. I could not drive. And so I'd be making all these plans, but I'm like, hey, if you want to do this, there is one catch. I can't drive. I'm gonna need a ride. I hate asking for favors like that, and I never expect people to say yes. But at this point, it was either be miserable and lonely, or actually make an effort to try to make my life better and try to make my friendships better. Much to my surprise, they all said yes. I guess it's not a surprise for anybody else who has common sense of how friendships work, but like, I am not that person. To me, it was particularly touching, honestly. It was thanks to them and their efforts that this time in my life was a lot less miserable than it could have been. And the thing is, I say the whole I need a car ride thing as a caveat, as a hassle, but as it turns out, it was easily one of the best things that could have happened in that time, because I had conversations with people, with my friends, that I otherwise would have never had. And it's a lot of those conversations that were some of the deepest, most genuine relationship building conversations that I've ever had with these people that I've known for years of my life. And honestly, I wanted to make something as a form of thanks to the people that were there, that are there, that have always been there, and for the new people that are coming into my life. In more ways than one, I am grateful for all of you. Thank you for your time, for your efforts, for the fact that you have chosen to keep me as your friend. I'm glad that my past habits and my scars and my patterns of how I used to view and treat friendship no longer have to define me. I think what I really wanted to touch on is having that strength to reach out, to go out and see what happens, to be with people who may not be at all the same way that I am, who live different lives with different opinions and different lifestyles, people who might not even be my cup of tea. Because what I've often found is that there is at least one thing to appreciate about almost every single person that I meet. Now, I may never hang out with them ever again, but I'm at least happy with myself and more secure in the fact that I gave it a shot, because I know that I put my best foot forward and saw what could be. There's this idea that when you read something someone wrote, or you listen to them speak, or you just look at the way that they carry themselves, that you can tell whether or not they're the type of person who doesn't like people. I used to be that person. I didn't like people. Even though I tried to mask it and fool people and even fool myself into thinking that, no, I like people, I'm cool with people. You could tell from the way that I looked, spoke, wrote, that I just didn't. Anybody could see through it. But now I'm proud to say that I've changed and improved myself enough to a point of growth where I don't see myself the same way anymore. I've seen examples firsthand on an almost daily basis of what it's like for others to feel unimportant, to feel like they're in an unstable environment, to feel like they're walking on eggshells. And I know that I have been that kind of person before. So recently I've been trying to make an effort to find the things that I appreciate and to call it out loud, because that might be such an obvious and small thing to me, but to them it might not be. And for me, I might assume that it's something that they'd already been told that day, or that they hear on the regular, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't diminish the value of being able to hear it again. And I think it sums up to this. I've been happier because I've found myself being able to make the people around me happier too. It's not a matter of introversion or extroversion or which one's better than the other. No, I think that both are beautiful and powerful things. It's about genuinely trying and being genuinely present for people for them, because I'm willing to give a damn. Which is not to say that I like everybody and life's just perfect and all kumbaya and whatnot. That's also not to say that people don't annoy me or disgust me or frustrate me. I'm not an idiot and I don't cloud myself in false positivity. But I'm glad that that's not my constant feeling, and that's not who I am. Not anymore. I'm glad that it's a part of me, because it keeps me strong, it keeps me firm and assertive and stand up for the things that I don't like. But I'm glad that does not define me every day, at every moment of my life. I'm happy that instead, what I have, and who I am now, is someone who actually likes people.